After the discovery of the cathode ray and finally the electron, the next discovery that was made was of the protons, and it was based on the study of the anal ray or the anode ray. Now, here the setup which was designed was same as to that of the cathode ray experiment, with a slight difference that here the cathode tube was perforated. That means the raw electrode is perforated. That means it has holes, and just behind the cathode electrode there will be a zinc sulfide coating. Now, just you can see here the experiment is having the same setup. Okay, here we have got the potential difference source. We can say the electricity will pass through it. Now here we have got the cathode connected to the negative terminal, anode connected to the positive terminal of the cell of the battery here. Here you can see that the cathode is perforated, having the holes, right, and the vacuum pump is the anode. So when the high potential difference is applied and the hydrogen gas, initially the hydrogen gas was placed inside the discharge tube here. It is placed at low pressure. Now what has been observed that at first the cathode ray, right, is moving toward the anode ray, right, with the particles which were flowing toward or moving toward the anode ray. Just in the opposite direction, some particles, they just moved, right, and they just struck the zinc sulfide surface which was just behind the cathode. As a result, the fluorescence or a glow was observed here. Right. Now these particles, since they were moving in just, we can say, opposite to that of the electrons, and they were moving from the side of anode toward the cathode, they were known as the anode ray, and as they are having their path through the, we can say, the channels or the canal, which are the holes here, they were known as the canal rays. Right. Now here we can have the different gases instead of hydrogen also. Right. Now what are going to the characteristics of the these particles or the anode ray or the canal ray? The first is they travel in a straight line. Second is they have got a material, we can say the particles have got a material nature, right? Third is that they, when they just we can say the nature of the gas is going to affect the E upon M ratio, that is the charge to mass ratio will depend upon nature of gas, right? If E upon M depends upon the nature of the gas which has been taken in the discharge tube, so simultaneously the charge on the particle will also depend upon, right, will also depend upon the nature of gas, because we know that when the cathode ray will strike the gas particles or gaseous atom, the number of electrons that will be moved out is going to vary. As a result, the charge on the particle which will be left behind is also going to vary. So it has been found that the charge will be equal to or is equal to the whole number multiple of charge on electron, right? And simultaneously the mass of the particle, this of the positively charged particle, will also depend on nature of gas, right? Earlier the cathode ray, it was independent, or the charge to mass ratio in the cathode ray was independent of the nature of gas, but here in the anode ray the particle charge to mass ratio, its charge and the mass of the particle is going to depend upon the nature of the gas, right? Now next is that these particles get deflected toward the electric field. When the electric field is applied, the particles are get attracted toward the negative terminal or negative plate, which shows that they carry the positive charge, right? They also get deflected or show deflection toward the magnetic field also. Now, it was experimentally found in the same way as the charge to mass ratio was found for the cathode ray, that E to M ratio was found to be 9.58 in 10 to the power 4 coulomb per gram, right? And the charge on the electron, on the proton, right, was found to be 1.6 in 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Or we can say the charge on this positively charged particle, E negative, is just shown here. The charge on the proton or the positively charged particle to be 1.6 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, which will be same as to that of the electron, right, but having the opposite sign. Electron has got a negative sign, here the proton will have the positive sign, and then the mass of each proton will be E upon M. It is 1.10 to the power minus 19 upon 9.58 into 10 to the power 4. On cancelling out, we will get 1.67 in 10 to the power minus 24 gram as the mass of the each proton, and it is found to be just similar to the just to be same as that of the hydrogen atom, right? So next is that here the Goldstein, the discovery of the proton has gone to the Goldstein, and the name proton is also given to these particle, positive charge particle, by the Goldstein. After the study of the electrons and protons, the next came the discovery of the radioactivity, or the study of the radioactivity, and it you can say contribution, or it goes to the goes to the Becquerel, who studied the phenomena of the radioactivity. Now, what is the radioactivity? It is the continuous, or we can say the spontaneous emission of the radiation from some radioactive element. Now, radioactive elements, they are the elements which will have the spontaneous emission of certain kinds of rays from their surface, right? Now, these rays were studied under the influence of the electric and the electric field mainly. So, depending upon the deflection toward a particular plate, either the positively charged plate or the negatively charged plate, they were considered to be alpha rays, beta ray, or the gamma ray. Now, let us have the look on the setup. Here we have got a lead block, right, and inside that lead block we have got a radioactive element. Now here we have taken the uranium. A radium can also be taken. Okay, now these elements, when we use the word spontaneous, it means that they will be just by themselves, they will be emitting out certain radiation or certain kind of rays from the surface. Radiation is continuous emission or spontaneous emission of some kind of rays from the surface of the metal or the element. So here you can see that this is a lead block inside which we have placed a radioactive element, right? It will just have certain emission, certain kinds of rays which are continuously emitting from it, right? So when these rays were made to fall on a photographic plate, this is the photographic plate, right? So what will happen? There will be continuous striking here, and certain, we will say, impressions will be made on the photographic plate. But when we apply, we can say, the potential difference across this photographic plate. Now this is a negative and the positive terminal, negative terminal. Okay, that time the continuous emissions which were made, now they are going to show a deflection toward certain rays, show a deflection toward the negative plate, certain show a deflection toward the positive plate, and certain just move straight away. Now those who showed a deflection toward the negative plate were termed as a positive rays, and they were known as the alpha rays, right? And those rays or the emissions which were just moving toward the positive terminal were named to be the beta rays or the negatively charged rays, whereas those which moved undeflected, they just moved straight, were known as the gamma rays. right? And these gamma rays are simply the electromagnetic radiations. Alpha rays, they are just same to the helium nuclei, right? They are known as a positively charged alpha particles. Okay, alpha rays, that actually the helium nuclei only, having the unit number of electrons to be 2 unit and that of the protons will be 4. Now here the beta rays were actually the negatively charged particles and they were denoted by E. 0 is the mass number here, or we can the number of protons, and here it is proton plus neutrons, and here it is number of electrons to be -1. Right. So what is the radioactivity? So radioactivity, it is the spontaneous emission of radiation, or we can say the rays, okay, from the surface of radioactive element. And this was studied by Becquerel, right? And the rays were just radiations were divided into three main types: alpha ray, beta ray, and the gamma ray radiations. Students, after the discovery of the radioactivity, it was clear that the atom will consist of subatomic particles and it was electron and protons, right? And after this discovery, the Chadwick was performing the number of the scattering experiment by taking the alpha rays and striking with the elements. Now he found that there must be some other particle also along with the electron and protons, right? So in an atom. So what he did, he just scatter, or he just pass the fast moving alpha particle and make it to bombard with the beryllium element, right? And he found that a carbon was formed, and along with that a new particle was obtained which was bearing no charge but it was having the mass, right? So just see the equation here. So what he did, he just made two strike fast moving alpha particles which is positively charged particle only, having the configuration similar to that of the helium. So that is the mass number is 4 and atomic number is 2 here, made to strike with the beryllium. So when the striking will take place, so here it will be the addition, right? And the product form was carbon, right? And another particle, a new particle was formed which was bearing no charge. It was having no electrons in it, right? And no charge on it. So you can see the 9 plus 4, it is 13, and it is 2 plus 4, 6. So 2 plus 4, 6 is a carbon was formed, and carbon has a mass number of 12, right? So it is there. The one that was left was just balanced by this particle. Now this particle was having a charge 0 and mass is 1.6749 to 10 to the power minus 27 grams. So here we can conclude that the atom consists of the three main particles. One is the proton, electron and the neutron.